Another marsupial now, the koala, on an island off the South Australian coast, Kangaroo Island. Kangaroo Island has proved to be a perfect breeding ground for koalas. An abundance of the right eucalyptus leaves to feast on, and an absence of predators like dogs that have annihilated populations in eastern Australia.
What we have here is a descendant of one of the first 18 koalas to be relocated to Kangaroo Island. Now that was back in the mid-1920s. Well, since then the population has gone wild. There are now some 26,000 of them, and they're causing a real problem with the trees, eating out the small tips at the top of the gum trees and killing them off.
A Kangaroo Island stripped of its gum trees is something South Australian authorities are keen to avoid. Wildlife Officer Desley Wisson has been charged with saving both the trees and the koalas.
Desley, now we can see the issue in front of us here. The problem, of course, are these trees that have been pretty badly stripped, high level.
That's right. The koalas tend to chew out the crowns of the trees, and if we let that happen over a long period of time, then the tree actually dies. And it's really clear to see which trees have been eaten by koalas because the inside area of the canopy is totally chewed out. Koalas can't reach down to this part of the branch, so you'll often see really thick foliage on the drooping branches, but then absolutely nothing at the top of the tree.
Something special. I think I had a good scratch.
There's one up there now.
Where's that?
Up in this tree here.
Okay. That looks to have a red tag in the right ear.
That's right. So that's most likely a female. We always tag the females in the right ear. It helps us identify how successful we've been in catching all the koalas in an area, and also in terms of we don't need to catch that one again to take it for sterilisation. In 2001 we did an island-wide population estimate and came up with between about 22 and 27,000 koalas across the island. They're really good survivors and they just keep breeding and breeding.
So the solution is to either sterilise these koalas or to relocate?
Well, it's actually a combination of both. What we do is relocate koalas from areas where there's a lot of damage and the preferred food trees are present. We catch from about October through to April. We have the best weather conditions for catching at that point. Since October last year, we've had a team of 18 people who go out every day, search for koalas, catch koalas and take them back to the vets for sterilisation. They need to climb as close as possible to where the koala is, and then they put a noose around its neck to stop the koala going higher in the tree, and then wave a flag in front of its nose, and they tend to back away from the flag, and we're able to walk them down the tree, and a person on the ground picks up the animal, puts it in a hessian sack, and then we're able to process it from there.
Are you a koala lover?
I love koalas. They're fascinating animals.
And yet you'll sterilise them and relocate them?
Well, it's a humane solution to a very difficult problem. We actually are very concerned about the welfare of the koalas. We don't catch if it's over 30 degrees because they tend to get a bit heat stressed. The catchers are trained in koala handling so they can minimise stress on the animals, and we move them back to the vets as quickly as possible. Since the beginning of the program in 1997, there's been about 6,000 koalas sterilised, with about 2,500 sent over to the southeast of South Australia. In this year of the program alone, we've done about 1,600 koalas, with the majority of those being females. Koalas get their sterilisation procedure and they're immediately put into plastic animal carriers for loading onto a plane. We charter a special plane, takes 40 koalas at a time over to Mount Gambier or some other regional airport that's close to a release site. We have somebody in Mount Gambier who collects those koalas and then transports them to the designated release area. They come straight out of the pet packs, they're placed at the base of a tree and they're observed until they've climbed up and are happily sitting up in the tree. Well, we have a monitoring program. We have 115 sites set up in different habitats across the island that we go back every year and assess tree condition as well as koala density in those sites. So we can see how many koalas in an area we've already sterilised, what percentage of the population we've been able to sterilise. We can also see if our densities are coming down. But most important of all, we're able to see how the trees are responding to the management. And it's just fantastic to see in those areas where we've done a lot of management, to see these trees just, putting on masses and masses of foliage. It's really nice to see that.
Next time we travel Oz, Tasmania. Pristine lakes and rainforests, yes. But what about the Tasmanian devil? They're under threat from a serious health epidemic. We follow a mission to save the species. Melbourne, it has a character all of its own, as the two teams check out the city's distinctive trends. And Canberra, Australia's top athletes train at the Institute of Sport. And a balloon ride high over Australia's centre of government.
And that is this episode of TravelOz. I'm Greg Granger. Happy travels.